Hey there, my name is Pravus. Welcome to Foundry, a newly announced game that's kind of the same vein as Satisfactory or Factorio, with a little bit of Minecraft thrown in. Developed by Channel 3 and published by Paradox Interactive, which really came out of left field. I didn't even have a clue this game was coming until all of a sudden it's there in my inbox. Alright, cool. I don't believe we have an official release date announced for this game as of yet. What I'm playing with right now is an early version of the demo that will be available during the Steam Next Fest. Let's go ahead and jump into the game and I'll show you how this works. So we're playing as some little droid that's apparently dropping on some alien planet for reasons unknown. And out we go. I've got a little tutorial guy in my ear. Shush. Can I, shut him up? Is that, an option? Because I really don't think I need... Thank you. He's quiet now. All right, so welcome to our world. You can kind of see the aesthetic I'm talking about. A little bit of Satisfactory, a little bit of Minecraft mixed in. First thing we're going to do is take a look at our map over here, and it's actually pretty darn huge. There's plenty of room to expand. I'm going to open up my inventory and pull out an ore vein scanner, and then we're going to use that sucker to detect a few ore veins. I happen to know there's one right next to me, though. This is xenoferrite ore, and there should be another one over there, technum. We're gonna go ahead and pull out my drill and just start drilling away until we get a fair bit of ore to get us started. We wanna start with the rubble here on top right now. I mean, you can drill the ground down here, but you only get 2 rubble at a time, which is extremely slow, and you need 100 to get started. So we'll take all the easy pickings up top, and then we'll rely on an automated process later on. And don't be shy about getting far more than the tutorial says you're gonna need. At the end of the day, if this is anything like Satisfactory or Factorio, and I already know that it is, you're always going to be hungry for more and more resources. You also are allowed to mine up some of the biomass around here and stuff too, which, you can probably predict you will be using this for power later on, so if you feel like chopping down everything in sight, I say go for it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on over here and grab all of the technum, and then we'll carry this all the way back to my landing location and simply insert the rubble in here, and boom, it is now processing and turning this into xenoferrite plates and technum rods. That should be enough time. Let's go ahead and simply take all of these. Boom. Now we need to start crafting. If you hit the C key, you're going to open up your crafting menu. To start off, we don't have a ton of options. We're going to simply build up a few building blocks. Click on this, takes the plates, takes the rods, and makes a handful of blocks that we can use to lay down some foundations. Now let's go ahead and grab all these building blocks, drag them over into my inventory, and now we need to place some of these ideally close to the iron ore itself. So how about something big, and we just kind of drag it out like this. And there we go. Okay, next thing we need to do is craft a drone miner, which does take some of those plates plus machinery parts and electrical components. Those are intermediary ingredients. If we click on this, we can see exactly what those are manufactured, but it all comes from the same 2 stuff. It basically just takes a lot longer to craft, at least initially. As before, drag this into my inventory, and we want to place this somewhere over here, ideally in a range where we can get to this entire vein. I guess this will have to do for the moment, though, so let's just go ahead and do this. 70 blocks should be more than enough to start mining. All right, so this thing is now set up, but of course it doesn't have any power. You better believe we now need to craft some biomass burners. So let's go ahead and place one of these burners nearby. As long as it is connected to the same foundation, it should be able to supply some power. So I'll just place you right here for example. And then we go ahead and dump in a whole load of the biomass I've been harvesting, and oh, lo and behold, we now have power. The fuel is being used up, and in just a moment, there it is! We see a little drone that appears out of our miner. Kind of looks like a Protoss probe, doesn't it? Anyway, these little guys are going to go ahead and just do all of the mining for us and drop off a bunch of the ore. Of course, I don't want to have to rely on the smelter over here and the micromanagement for long, so the next thing you build up is going to be, you guessed it, a smelter. I'm going to place this thing close-ish to the mine, ideally, I think maybe 4 or 5 spaces apart like this. All right, so now we need to help the resources get from point A to point B. Back to the crafting. We need to get ourselves a couple of loaders and some conveyor belts. If this is all feeling very familiar so far, it's because, yeah, this game seems to follow the formula we are used to from games like this pretty closely. Actually, I think the one thing I'm probably concerned about is, while this is certainly cool looking, it doesn't have a way of really differentiating itself. But that said, we're pretty early in the demo. Not going to judge it too harshly up front. Place down a couple of loaders. I don't really want to block up the panel. I guess we'll do one right here. And you can see which side has to interact with the building, which side is going to interact with the belt. These are both your loaders and unloaders, by the way, so you can use the same structure for both purposes, but you do need one at both ends. So we've got that. Now we need to go ahead and place down some belts. It has to be placed underneath the loaders, so we'll do something like this. And boom, just like that, we now are able to see that resources are going to be tossed in here, and as long as we have power, which we certainly do, we're going to start fabricating a bunch more of these plates. And honestly, I want to have at least 2 of these smelters for each resource. Now, these smelters, in theory, are supposed to be faster and more efficient than the landing location. That seems to be an outright lie to me, though. It takes 3 seconds to manufacture, which is the exact same amount of time it takes for the lander to do its thing. However, this requires power, and the lander doesn't. So I can have more of them for sure. More efficient seems like a lie. That said, maybe there's a way to upgrade these in the future, I don't know. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is start crafting some research packs, exactly the same sort of way that you would in something like, let's say, Factorio. So I've crafted myself a research server, and I just need to place one of these down on some foundation. Could be the same foundation, but I'm going to go ahead and just start building out some space. What does it take to make science packs? Well, if we go over here, we can see it takes some of those machinery parts and some technum rods. I'm going to go ahead and make 3 of these things. So with these 3 packs, we should be able to dump all of them into the control panel here for the research, and let's go to the interface, and we can see the tech tree. There are at least a pretty good number of things that you can research in the game currently. What I'm looking for is a simple assembler, a crafting workbench of sorts. So we toss in all 3 of those packs, they're going to start getting burned up, and we wait for this to be complete. In the meantime, I already know what I'm going to want to start crafting. More research packs. So let's go ahead and build out more of this foundation and get ready for some assemblage. So with that research, we want to go ahead and craft up at least 2 of these, believe it or not, because remember, the science packs aren't just made of the simple base ingredients. We have a machinery part to worry about, which means we're going to need to have an assembler to turn plates into machinery parts and an assembler to take the parts and the rods and mix them together. So 2 assemblers in total. So let's see, I'll place both of these. I guess side by side's okay, though we do need to make sure we leave some room for some loaders, so I'll have to do some fun little belt shenanigans in the background. So now we need to think about how we are going to get some resources over here. Just as before, we're going to need to get ourselves some foundations and some loaders, which do require foundations underneath them, though the belts apparently are easily able to defy gravity. As you can see here, extremely rigid structure. Doesn't even need struts. Crazy, right? Such is the way of the future. All right, so we've got a lot of these plates now being delivered over in this direction. What we need to do is configure this thing and say, hey, I want you to go ahead and turn those into machinery parts. And then we come over to this thing, we hit the toggle, boom, now it's output, and oh, look at all of the plates being sent. Hooray! All right, now we've got all these parts coming over there. Here comes a whole bunch of rods, so all I gotta do now is go and configure this thing and say, make science! Of course, there's still more things I need to build, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to have 2 smelters, so I haven't accidentally shot my only current supply of all of these plates and rods. It certainly seems like one miner can easily handle like 3 or more of these things without too much issue. We're still capped out on our ore after fueling both of these. No problem at all. Out come the precious science packets. Takes a while to make them, unfortunately. There we go. And now we're tossing them into the science. And yes, by the way, this is the point where the tutorial literally says, well, you seem like you know what you're doing, so good luck. To which I say, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate your vote of confidence. Of course, the question is, what do we really want to research? I have absolutely no idea. We can get ourselves some extra inventory slots, which has not been an issue so far. Crafting speed I could see being useful. Good lord, it takes a lot of science level 2, though. All right, more inventory, character mining time, etc. Okay. What does it take to get a science pack level 2? You need conveyors and building blocks. Oh, good. We're going to need a lot more assembly. And then there's basic infrastructure. Okay, a storage building that can be automated with loaders and conveyor belts. That seems like the sort of thing that I want. Okay, I'm greatly expanding the area I have to work with. Let's go ahead and place down at least 1 or 2 of these logistics containers. How about 1 here and 1 here? I'll also go ahead and research the conveyor balancer, which allows us to merge or split some lanes. You can also get doors, ladders, lights. Let's see, bigger loaders, more logistics containers. An upgrade for my ore scanner, so we can find a whole new resource I have to worry about. Railings, signs, stairs. A lot of this doesn't seem like this would be extremely important unless you plan on doing a lot of base building. Now, this game does appear to be intended for multiplayer, so you can imagine if you're coordinating with a bunch of friends and gathering up a bunch of resources, you guys could probably build up a pretty fun-looking base. Which, there's something to that. I already know exactly how I would play the game personally. Doing nothing but destroying the natural landscape by placing down as many of these foundation tiles as possible. The world shall be metal. Putting aside my dreams of an Ecumenopolis project, hello, I didn't even notice that. Okay, that's fun. Let's take a look at these splitters and see how well they're working. We're gonna go ahead and start outputting a bunch of stuff. This should start splitting everything up into, yes. Looks like we got one line coming out over here. Perfect, all right. It looks like the way this is supposed to work is you say, hey, I've got both of these feeding in and the priority needs to be toggled over to this line. That way it tries to force as many through here if the option exists. Otherwise, between both the input and output, it looks like it would try to distribute them evenly. That's actually kind of a cool system. So what's the next thing I want to work on? Great question. Conveyors level 2. It's faster. Fun. I feel like what I'm going to need, honestly, is some power, because this biomass thing is going to become kind of annoying to deal with pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and use a bunch of packs to learn about ignium. Ooh, I can customize my character. I did not know this. There I am, little happy robot man. I can change. I can be blue. I can be purple. I can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter because I can't see myself anywhere. But if I were playing with anyone else right now, they'd think I'm really dapper. Oh, ignium, where could ye be? Scan. Okay, technum. That ignium, it's all the way over here. You know, this would have been actually very easy to overlook because it looks like it's actually buried in some way or another. All right, I played enough Minecraft to know how this works. Let's expose the vein. There we go, that's a lot better. Perfect. The water is very pretty, by the way. It's a pretty good looking game, frankly, for a game that I didn't have a clue existed until like a day or two ago. There we go. Lots of lovely, what was this? Iridium? Already on the way. No, ignium. Ignium, that's what it was. There's always some weird science garbled name. Comes at a good time, too, because I really don't feel like hunting for a bunch of biomass. Oh, but strangely enough, it seems I'm completely full of resources. Right, okay, well, let's just go ahead and take a bunch of this for myself. Well, that's my generator done. Let's go ahead and build out at least a couple of those things. Looks like these can produce about 2 megawatts instead of the 600 kilowatts we were getting. So this is definitely worth a lot more power. Oh, frickin' heck, it's huge, too. Right. What I don't know is how to control the output type so that only something very specific comes out, right? Because obviously I don't want those plates going into the generator. That does me absolutely no good. Is there any way to interface with, like, what intake you do specifically? I don't think so, actually. Well, I guess I could just manually toss it in for now, if needed. And yeah, it's burning through that fuel pretty quick, but that solves the biomass issue. Trying to look a little bit ahead here to see what kind of other research exists, because that can give us an idea what this game's going to contain. Basic steel making, huh? Okay, you need a xenoferrite ignium ore blend, beams, crusher, machinery parts, oh boy. Voltage energy grids, okay. Explosives? Sure. Piping. Oh good, and tanks. We're gonna have liquids to worry about. Concrete production, incinerators and stuff, of course a bunch of different ways that you can continue upgrading your belts and the rest of your base. All right, what else we got down here? Alumite processing and stuff. Okay, science packs level 3. A lot of this is gonna be locked in the demo, but you get some idea what we can look forward to. Solar panels, sure. Batteries, yeah, that's something I would like probably earlier than that. Jump packs, we can fly in this game. Oh, that sounds like fun. Can try messing with these double loaders over here. 2 lanes, should make it a little bit easier to have 2 different resources getting into the same assembler that way, I would think. Let's try messing around with this for a second and just sort of see how this works. So can I have, for example, you go here. Let's actually just get rid of this thing entirely. There we go. Can we have you turn in and go into here or something? And then maybe you go straight in here and then it gets picked up? Sort of, kind of, maybe no? I can't totally tell how to make the second one work, actually. Oh, I'm misunderstanding. This thing isn't intended to pick up 2 different lines and pull them in at the same time. It's just so you can feed something through here easily enough. Well, okay, fair enough. Let's just go back to this thing. I don't honestly totally see why I would care about this, except for just, I guess, the ability to feed more things through around these, whatever. Whatever, doesn't matter, it's fine. I got new colors for my character. Hold on, this is the most important part of the game. What's the new color? Was it black? I actually don't know. Whatever, we can go ahead and start researching the science pack level 2, so I will be able to start getting those. And again, I'm going to need to start crafting a whole load of conveyors and building blocks automatically. And of course, I should remind myself how that works. We need the plates and some more machinery parts. Okay, we're already doing that on one assembler. Plus, just plates and rods. So really only 2 more assemblers would be all that I need, in theory. Okay, that's easy. That said, I don't think that I'm really going to sit around and wait for that long. So, tell you what, instead, I'm going to go explore a little bit and see if we can find extra biomes or something. I wonder if there's cool stuff to see. Oh, there we go. This looks kind of exotic. Yeah, you got some weird suspect rock formations. Not sure exactly how these formed. Some sort of an actual desert over in that direction, okay. And it looks like an actual jungle, too. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. But at the end of the day, there is no place like home. So I know we didn't cover an absolute ton of ground, but it is, at the end of the day, only just a demo, so I don't feel like we need to go super crazy on this stuff. We've got an idea what this game has to offer, and then just looking at the tech tree, you kind of get a sense of what else is going to be coming available as time goes on. I think this game can be pretty fun in at least multiplayer. The problem I always have with this type of a game is at some point it just feels a little overwhelming and sometimes kind of boring when you're doing it all on your own. But if you're coordinating with other folks and they're kind of producing resources and you just kind of have this whole chaotic factory all coming together, that's when the game really starts to get fun. And as long as this game runs smoothly in multiplayer, and at least in single player it's smooth as silk, I could see this being a game that people enjoy. Still, I think that's good enough for this particular video. Foundry, everybody. Pretty fun, pretty cute, looks great, feels great. I don't know if it really innovates anything that I haven't already seen before, but it certainly is promising if this is the kind of genre you already like. I just question, is this the game that's going to draw you away from the games that, again, you already like? Hope you found this video informative and helpful in some way. If so, I'd ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.